Yeah, truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. Truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Can't be told, it gotta be realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't realized. Freedom ain't legalized. Realized. Legalized, real eyes, realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Real eyes, realize, realize. Yeah, slavery was a long time ago. How? Same motherfuckers still here right now. Colonized on our land, they ahead of us. Changed our name so much, they scared of us. Children of the feeling, y'all don't compare to us. Pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Talking about America, pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Even up the playing field, bitch, I'm darn. How you a victim, bitch, you a Karen. Cognitive dissonance, you don't need strength. You got white privilege, so you don't need strength. Looking at my homeland, man, I can't believe her. Colonizers came here, they ain't never leave her. Indians ain't die off cause we here. You ain't gotta lie, just say you won't be here. How you American but not indigenous? 400 years still ain't get rid of us. All Europeans, naturalized citizens, made all the Indians, niggas on the census. 1492, we was on the fences. Civil rights movement, we was so defensive. Black Wall Street, whites got so offended. Common law rights gave us amendments. Thank God don't speak truth, that's alright. First slave 1619 was all white. 1200 wasn't no continent. All white Europe named after a black woman. Alright, grafted it come from us. Do your research, go within, quit listening to teachers. And the new got voice coming out the speaker. Cut our trees, gonna made us weaker. Really they foreigner, the shit gets deeper. Whites don't know where whites come from either. I'm Aboriginal, we come from the ether. Ruling over us in our land, that's evil. Being colonized right now, black people. Prisoner of war, that's why it ain't equal. Wake up everybody, don't be no sheeple. Freedom ain't free, really freedom is illegal. And we can't get mad at this. Whites act like we can't see their advantages. Privileges real, they working in management. Low down dirty, but they calling us savage. They want you to think they above us. All white people are part-time judges. I ain't no racist, but I ain't no sucker. I ain't no African, but they my brothers. Been lied to, I got built up anger. You built everything, still waiting on the savior. Don't call yourself black, please do me that favor. Black tourmaline will protect you from a hater. Listening to your oppressors is dangerous. Gave us a Bible and stole our nation. Said we couldn't read what we didn't know the language. Kept us on paper because we didn't see the danger. American Indian, keep the religion. Skin, copper color, look just like a penny. Wanted our land and you called us stingy. Ain't no Democrats there to gotta pay attention. We got ancestors, but the papers is missing. Kings and queens, you can't remember. Remember who you are, just like Simba. Now they got a vaccine, don't want that in us. George Washington is the ninth president, look it up. United States, only 10 square blocks, look it up. White people really the minorities, look it up. Courtrooms don't got authorities, look it up. You want me, say stop governing me. Gave me a straw man, it's really not me. Why you don't keep it 100 with me? Why Trayvon killer still walking around free? Made this song for the truth, don't hate it. History was told in reverse, I've stated. Reads to the press, somebody gotta say it. I'm taking out of school, that's the reason I made it. History, it's his story. History, it's his story. History, that's his story. History, it's his story. That ain't my story. History, it's his story. It's his story. Probably ain't your story. History, it's his story. It's his story.
That's where nobody could touch mine. The king with Aboriginal bloodlines. Indigenous wherever the sun shines. I got it covered. We've been discovered the sacred land, not Columbus. Stop the front and you're hating. The natives was copper color. We the grace. We embrace indigenous DNA. Ancestors being raped. They captured us. We were slaves. But before we was peaceful people striving. They seen in typical colonizers saying all our kindness is weakness. Destroying nations. Diminished our history. Then erased it. Committed genocide. Turned corpses to corporations. While more of us on the slave ship. They was taking us for fools, and we still waiting for that 40 acres and a mule. Tell them run that. It's going down like a sunset. Our genocide was a setback for major comebacks. I run laps around these lies, speak facts you gotta find. But it's hard to rise because we are trapped inside our minds. So it's time to break the chain, stop fighting and make a change. Different tribes worldwide, united on the terrain, giving game on survival. We passing the truth on how to live off the land and grow natural foods. Let's get it.
Grand Risings. We're going to play one more and we ready to get into it.
You should come and match this greatness. Wake up and I'm saying affirmations. Staring at nature with infatuation. The feeling's amazing. Life is short, so while you living, embrace it. Shoot for the stars, stop living the basic. Cause time is expensive like Audemars. Some people done lost it all. You can have it all today, but you can lose it all tomorrow, for real. That's why I'm intelligent when I think. Every breath and every blink, forever I'm giving thanks, yeah. It keep me grounded, so I'm staying in nature. Why do we thank the creator, but don't thank the creation? a church where we pray to a savior, but yet it's simple. The building's man-made, the earth is the real temple. Feel it breeze, see the trees, fruits growing with ease. I kick it here like Bruce Lee and learn to be like the sea. I wanna fly like the birds, the way they living is free. Everything that I observe, I just see it as me in a different form. So every chance I get, I spread love. If you hearing my voice, please keep your head up. People will criticize and try to knock what you've been through, but don't you ever let it stop. Your potential is all within you. Never surrender, tap into the love inside. Because some people never find it, others never try. Some people want to live forever, others want to die. Because they think the grass is greener on the other side. But you gotta water it here first, so conquer your fears first. And let the pain go by healing wounds that still hurt. The biggest keys to live is to grow and forgive. Stop speaking your true thoughts, let them know how you feel. If you want to be happy, start embracing the sadness. You gotta build a strong mind so you can break through the madness. Look around at the world, they all playing their backs. If you want your dreams to happen, never chase them or trap them. We taking action. Our actions here to live in alignment. We experience life knowing that we here to design. We was born to have freedom, not to live in confinement. If you ain't got it, well, I'm here to remind you. It's time to get up and find it. It's about that time, y'all. Time to heal, time to change, time to elevate. You know, if you hear my voice right now, I'm right here with you. Through all the pain, through all the challenges. You know what I mean? We gotta keep going, we gotta stay motivated. You understand? Because life is a journey. We gotta treat it as such. Don't get weighed down by all the negatives. Stay focused on the positive, you feel me? Love everything.
Focus
love
on
everybody.
the what? Love everything, love everybody.
Love the earth.
Even those that hate.
The earth. Nurture the earth.
They don't like the truth, man. They get mad when you tell the truth.
Take your shoes off, you know what I mean? Put your feet directly in the soil. Feel the earth. Absorb what is here to give you, which is love. So it's only right we love it back. King Isaiah.
Fire, fire, fire. Peace to the fam. What's going on, y'all?
Elevate.
Dropping straight gems.
Manifest success.
Say it, brother. How y'all feeling, fam? What's going on? Y'all ready to get back into this info? Last night was awesome. So what we gonna do, we gonna get right back to it because it was great. I had to stop earlier. I wanted to get into it, but I had something come up. But yeah, it's that time, guys. Let's continue. And of course, important call as soon as I start. Give me 1 second, guys. Hello? Yes. Ancestors being raped, they captured us, we were slaves, but before we were peaceful people striving, they said it typical colonizers saying all our kindness is weakness, destroying nations. Committed our history, then erased it. Committed genocide, turned corpses to corporations, but more of us on the station, they was taking us for fools, and we still wait for that 40 acres and a mule, tell them run it. It's going down like a sunset. Our genocide was a setback for major comebacks. I run laps around these lives. Be facts you gotta find. But it's hard to rise because we are trapped inside our minds. So it's time to break the chains. Stop fighting and make a change. Different tribes worldwide. United on this terrain. Giving game on survival. We passing the truth on how to live off the land and grow natural foods. Let's get it.
I'm not crazy at all. Okay? Everybody knows saying that 30 is crazy. 30 is not crazy at all. 30 just foresee a lot that a lot of people don't foresee.
I swear nobody could touch mine. The king with Aboriginal bloodlines. Indigenous wherever the sun shines. I got it covered. We've been discovered the single and knock the numbers, stop the front man. You're hating the natives was copper color. We embrace indigenous DNA. Ancestors being raped, they captured us. We were slaves, but before. All right. Okay. I just had to run that back for y'all. I want y'all sitting in like a total silence, right?
So, as I said, um, oh yes, I will bring. I will. Spoke with her earlier, and some of the information that she went over. She has a page, Linda. So you don't have to come over here to look for somebody else, babe. She has a page. We gave her page. I can get. Actually, let me text her now. Ask her if she can come in the chat and drop her link right quick. Cause I don't. I can't get to the link right now. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, let's see if she can get over and do that right quick. Okay, let's see. I have guests sometimes, Linda. Most of the time, I don't have too many guests unless it's a special guest I'm interviewing. So, yeah, she does have a page. So I just asked her to come drop her link so I can get to this. So basically, back to this. It says they often change the sense of words into a different signification from the natural, right? Okay, so yes, let's get back to it. I'm sorry. Now I'm getting every call in the world, you guys know. They often change the sense of words into a different signification from the natural, exactly after the manner also of the Orientalists. Tirthankars, don't forget. Even their common speech is full of it, like the prophetic writings. Like the who? The prophetic writings. The book of Job, Job. Their orations are concise, strong, and full of fire, which sufficiently confutes the wild notion which some have expounded on the North American Indians being pre-Adamites or a separate race of men. Let's see. All right, guys. Everything is happening. Customers calling now, people calling about ads, Lord. Okay, prophetic writings and the book of Job, their orations are concise, they're strong and full of fire, which sufficiently confuse the wild notion which some have expounded of the North American Indians being pre-Adamites or a separate race of men. Created for that continent. What stronger circumstantial proofs can be expected than that they, being disjointed from the rest of the world, time immemorial, and destitute also of the use of the letters? They should have and still retain the ancient standard of speech conveyed down by oral tradition from father to son to the present generation. Besides, their persons, customs, and are not singular from the rest of the world, which probably they would were they not descended from one of the same common head. Their notions of things are like ours, and their organical structure is the same. In them, the soul governs the body. In them, the soul governs the body according to the common laws of God in the creation of Adam. God employed 6 days in creating the heavens, this earth, and the innumerable species. This is according to the traditions. When you're listening to this, it sounds like they're talking about something in church or some type of religious aspect. Keeping in mind, everything we're reading here is the observations of the origin and the origin and the descent of the Indians. So this is the information pertaining to that. So their information was in them. The soul governs the body. This is where they retrieve the information from when it comes to the Bible, and being able to change and transform their information and make them believe that it was something else outside of their spiritual inclination, taking them into the religious aspects with Christianity. So bringing in Christianity was a religious aspect that they were not aware of, knowing that their laws and their creation and their system and everything that they were derived from, that came down from the fathers. It says right here, the traditions from the father to the son. So as those traditions were passed down from father to son, they knew of these spiritual inclinations, and the names being similar, they also started to transfer or change over that information. So now when someone comes to you with something they consider to be structured, or them having a lack of knowledge from the rest of the world in obtaining that knowledge, this would make them think, oh, we were just missing a piece of this. We don't have any written documentation. We don't have any facts to everything that our father said. These people have this written down in documentation. So they have more information than us. Oh my gosh, we've been thinking it's this spiritual thing, but in all actuality, there is a God. There is a Father in the sky that is a heaven that we need to try and reach by way of our fortitude. Are you guys getting this? Let me check on my chat. What's going on, chat? What's going on? Sis, would you please drop your link to your page in the chat, sis? Sister Linda was trying to get some information, but I'm on here and I couldn't really get to the live. So could you please drop that? Okay. So, and the innumerable number of species of creatures wherewith it is so amply furnished, the works of a being infinitely perfect must entirely answer design of them. Hence, there could be no necessity for a second creation or God's creation, many pairs of the human race differing from each other and fitted for different climates, because that implies imperfection. So in the grand scheme, or a point of wanting of power in the execution of it, had there been a prior or a later formation of any new class of creatures, they must materially differ from those of the 6 days' work, different from what was created by God. For it is inconsistent for divine wisdom to make a vain or unnecessary repetition of the same act. But the American Indian neither vary from the rest of mankind in their internal construction. So the things that came down from their ancestry and their fathers and all of that, nor external appearance, except in color, which, as had been shown, is either entirely accidental or artificial. As the mosaic account declares a completion of the manifestation of God's infinite wisdom and power and creation within that space of time, it follows that the Indians have lineally descended from Adam, and first the great parent of all the human species. Don't y'all know that? Now, when you guys are looking at this, a lot of people are going to be thinking, oh, this says Adam. Oh, it's talking about God. We're talking about a religious. We're talking about Christianity. No. Pay attention, stay woke, and listen up. Now, both the Shikasha, and the Choctaw Indians call a deceitful person. Hold on 1 second, guys. My grandbaby is playing with these candles. I'll be right back. Stacking them like it's a toy. Lord have mercy. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Gotten distracted, but that's okay. Might lose a couple of y'all that can't get it, but I'm still gonna get with it. So, both the Chickasaw and the Choctaw Indians call a deceitful person a snake, So a deceitful person is a sente. I've heard that before, or a snake. And they frequently say that they have not senti soulish the snake's tongue, the meaning of which is very analogous to what? A name in the Hebrews gave to a deceitful person, which probably proceeded from a traditional knowledge of ease being beguiled by the tempter. In that shape, for the Indians never affixed any bad idea to the present reptile fertility, except that of poisonous teeth. They never used any such metaphor as that of a snake's teeth. Some have supposed the Americans to be descended from Chinese. Some have supposed the Americans to be descendants from Chinese, but neither their religion, laws, nor customs agree in the least with these of the Chinese, which sufficiently prove that they are not of that line. It was another line. Remember, there were the two great nations, this being the second great nation.
Yeah. Look at my chair.
What happened?
Look at my chair. You can't get my chair.
Hold on, y'all. No sense. Okay. All right. Not interfering, sis. I just want you to be able to get her page so you can go, make sure you link, with the information that you want to, baby. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do nothing wrong. Okay, so let's get back to it. Besides, as our best ships now are almost a half a year in sailing to China or from thence to Europe. They were traveling and doing all this. Mind you guys, this is 1774. It is very unlikely they should attempt such dangerous discoveries in early times with their supposedly small vessels against the rapid currents and in dark. The same thing with slavery. How could they have come down if they didn't think these people came down from a line? How could you have so many slaves coming across this slave trade? If the currents were so bad. And in the dark, sickly moonsons, especially as it is very probable they were unacquainted with the use of the lodestone and direct their courses. And China is above 8,000 miles distant from the American continent. It was the second continent, China being the first great nation. America is the second great nation. There are two great nations that ruled. They were in code science with each other, with all of the metaphors. They had the same types of ideology. They had a similar tradition, which is going back to Jainism, which they won't link that here, but I'm telling y'all, we'll get into that too. Going back to some of the Jainism ways, which is the spirituality and ascending, these type of things. All this has to do with that. It is above 8,000 miles distant from the American continent, which is twice as far across the Atlantic Ocean. And we are not informed by any ancient writer of their maritime skill or so much as any inclination that way. Besides a small coasting voyages. The winds blow likewise with little variation from east to west within the latitudes of 30 and odd, north and south, and therefore they could not drive them on the American coast. It lying directly contrary to such a course. Neither could persons sail to America from the north by the way of Tartary or ancient Scythia. That, from its situation, never was or can be a maritime power, and it is utterly impracticable for any to come to America by sea from that quarter, which is at that time we're thinking about. Before that, the lands were different. So there were some lands that were lower. They were able to cross over different areas, even being able to walk to different countries. So that's still questionable. Besides the remaining traces of their religious ceremonies, the civil and the martial customs are quite opposite to the like vestiges of the old Scythians. Okay, so we're going to go down, guys. Like I said, we're going to kind of browse through this, find some stuff that we want to look. Okay, here it goes. Okay, let's talk about this. The observation of their view on them being part or their line coming from the Jews. Being Jews of Israelites, not Jewish, but the original Jew. From the most exact observations I can make it the long time I traded among the Indians. The long time that I traded among the Indians. And mind you, this is in 1700s, so this has been going on forever, right? I was forced to believe them lineally descended from the Israelites, either while they were a maritime power or soon after the general captivity. The latter, however, is the most probable. This descent I shall endeavor to prove from their religious rites. This descent I shall endeavor to prove from their religious rites, civil and martial customs, their marriages, their funeral ceremonies, their manners, their language, their traditions, and a variety of peculiars, which will at the same time make the reader thoroughly acquainted with nations of which it may be said on this day very little have been known. The observations. Here go the observations and the arguments in proof of the American Indians being descendants from Jews. And when we say the Jews, as I said, do you know the difference between the Jew and the Jewish? There's the Jew and there's the Jewish. We know what Jewish is, right? These are the ones with the black hats, and they have the long beards, and they call it, like, if you say something against them, it's anti-Semitic. But you can talk about anybody else in the world. You can talk about anybody in the world besides them. Why is that? What makes them where? I just don't get it. I just really don't get it. But let's just keep reading here. When we know who the real Jews are, being of a certain nation, trying to put the Israel. Trying to put the Israel into America and making a fake Israel, so on and so forth, right? A number of particulars present themselves in favor of Jewish descent. They say in Jewish, but it's Jew. The combination, people not understanding the difference between what a Jew is and a Jewish descendant. Descent. But to form a true judgment and draw a solid conclusion, the following arguments must be particularly separated. Let them be distinctively considered. Then unite them together and view their force collectively. Well, let's do that, guys. Y'all ready for that? Who down with me on that? Let's get it together and see what it is. Let's get it together and see what it is. Empower her. What's up? Says peace. Peace says. So let's get to it. Argument number one. Let's go over this, guys. As the Israelites were divided into tribes, because they were tribes. They were people of tribes, and they had chiefs over them. So the Indians as well divide themselves. Each tribe forms a little community within the nation, the same as the Jews, right? As the original Jews, not the Jewish, but the Jews. And as the nation had, my sinus is starting again, guys. I'm sorry. I hate this. It's like this computer be bringing out. I don't know if I'm sitting in front of this computer, the emissions coming from it or what, but I literally start to get clogged up and stuffed up every time I sit down here to read to y'all. And as the nation had its particular symbol, so hath each tribe the badge from which it is denominated, right? The sachem of each tribe is a necessary party in conveyances and treaties. The sachem of each tribe is necessary party in conveyances and treaties. This is to which he affixes the mark of his tribe. There's a mark for your particular tribe. As a corporation, with us their public seal ID N0024. What the heck is that? I'm about to look that up. Public seal ID. Never heard that. Let's see what pulls up if we look that up real quick. Hold on, y'all. Because I've never even heard of that. So I wonder if it means something or is it just talking about something particular. We're going to see. Okay, list of 13, general provisions, purchase order, general provisions, purchase order, general provisions. So having to do with purchase orders. Okay. If we go from nation to nation among them, we shall not find one who doth not lineally distinguish himself by his respective family. Your family. The family is everything. The genealogical names, which they assume are derived either from the names of those animals whereof the cherubim are said in Revelation to be compounded, or from such creatures such creatures as are most familiar to them. They have the families of the eagle. Let me highlight this. They have the families of the eagle, the panther, the tiger. Look how this is spelled. The tiger is TY. The tiger and the buffalo, the family of the bear, the deer, the raccoon, the tortoise, the snake, the fish, and likewise of the wind. Likewise of the wind, which is what? The wind is what? Air, breath, the breath of life, right? So that is the wind, the air of life. The last, if not derived from the appearance of the divine glory, as expressed by the prophet Ezekiel, may be of Tyrian extraction. We are told in a fragment of Sanchoniation that the Tyrians worshipped fire. They worship fire and aerial wind as goods, and that Eusoeus, the son of Hyposoronius, built a sacred pillar to each of them, so that if it was not an Israelitish extraction, it may be derived from the Tyrians, their neighbors, as made likewise the appellative name of fish, especially as the Indians sometimes invoke the eagle and the fish when they are curing their sick. They invoke the eagle. Hold on, y'all hear this? The Indians invoke the eagle and the fish when they are curing the sick. The Tyrians were the people in early times who, above all others, enriched themselves in the natural element of the fish. Now, looking at this, what comes to you guys' mind? Think quick, think quick. Jesus, the fish, is represented by the fish. They always talk about Jesus and the fish feeding. You know, he multiplied the fish. You know, all of this. They show this fish. I wish I could remember what it is. What it said? GJID. There's an initial in it. If anybody can remember, put it in the chat. There's an initial, and it gives a reference to Jesus being this fish. So this comes from it. It said it was used to heal, and they said what? Jesus heals the sick. Jesus heals the sick. He raised the dead. In here it says invoking the evil in the fish when they were curing the sick. So this would be where the reference of Jesus curing the sick, the fish cures the sick. I don't know if you guys kind of get that, but I want you to kind of see how these disseminations are. Salute, brother. How these disseminations are being broken down just by you getting an understanding of some of the traditions from the Aboriginal Indian. Y'all got to pay attention. We're going to get into some more stuff here. Many of the ancient heathens followed the Jewish custom of dividing themselves into tribes or families. The city of Athens was divided into 10 parts or 10 tribes, in which the Greeks called Puli, a tribe. They named each of the heads that resided over them archegos, and the writers inform us that the East Indian pagans have to this day tribes or castes, and that each caste chooses a head to maintain its privileges, to promote a strict observance of their laws, and to take care of that everything be managed with proper order. The ancient heathens mimicked a great deal of the Jewish ceremonial law. They didn't say the Jew, it said of the Jewish ceremonial laws. The Indians, however, bear no religious aspect to the animals from which they derive the names of their tribe, but will kill any of the species when opportunity serves. The wolf, indeed, several of them do not care to meddle with, believing it unlucky to kill them, which is the sole reason that few of the Indians shoot at that creature, through a notion of spoiling their guns. Concerning and this is another thing, through the notion of spoiling their guns. Now, as you guys know, they always try to say that the Indians only had a bow and arrow, not a gun. All right, so let's keep it moving. Considering the proximity of Tyre to Egypt, probably this might be a custom of Egyptian extraction. What is he hollering for? Come here, Dejor. Hold on, guys. Oh, crying over damn toy. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I got these poor little twins over here that don't know how to, act sometimes. All right, considering the proximity of Tyre to Egypt, probably this might be a custom of Egyptian extraction. Though at the same time, they are so far from esteeming it a deity, they reckon it the most abominable quadrupled of the whole creation. There is no tribe or individual among them, however, called by the name opossum, ID in 0025. These things have some meaning. I'm going to get into that because I see quite a few of them. They keep referencing that particular thing too, which is the Cherokee. And as we were talking about yesterday, look how Cherokee is spelled Cherokee. It looks like Cherokee, but Cherokee. The Cherokee, still Sequoia, and with the Chickasaw and the Choctaw Indians. The Shaka, the synonyms with that of a hog. Shaka, the synonyms with that of a hog. This may be more material than at first appears, as our natural history tells us that the opossum is common in other parts of the world. Several of the old Indians assure us they formerly reckoned it a filthy, uneatable an animal as a hog. So even our people back in the days didn't eat no pig. Y'all see this, right? Let me highlight this for you people, you meat eaters. Several of the old Indians assure us they formerly reckoned it as filthy and uneatable an animal as a hog, letting you know that pork is not the diet, letting you know it was filthy and uneatable. Okay? Although they confess, and we know by long observation, that from the time our traders settled among them, they are every year more corrupt in their morals. Not only in their instance of eating an impure animal, but in many other religious customs of their forefathers. A creature that had a head like a hog and a tail like a rat. We saw a big creature like that in some of the older pictures. When we consider the various revolutions these unlettered savages, listen to this, likely to have undergone among themselves through a long forgotten measure of time, and that probably they have been above 20 centuries without the use of letters. They have been above 20 centuries without the use of letters to convey down their traditions. They didn't need to use letters to convey down their traditions. They passed them down from their fathers, from the word of my mother, the word of my father, my ancestors. It cannot be reasonably expected they should still retain the identical names of their genial tribes. Why wouldn't it? Why would they forget that? That sounds stupid. Their main customs corresponding with those of Israelites, and sufficiently clears the subject. Besides, as hath been hinted, they call some of their tribes by the name of the cherubical figures that were carried on the four principal standards of Israel. I have observed with much inward satisfaction the community of goods that prevailed among them. After the patriarchal manner and that of the primitive Christians, especially with those of their own tribe. Though they are being exceedingly corrupt in most of their ancient commendable qualities, yet they are so hospitable, kind-hearted, and free. They would share with those of their own tribe the last part of their provisions, even to a single ear of corn, and to others, if they called when they were eating, for they have no stated meal time. On open generous temper is a standard virtue among them, to be narrow-hearted, especially to those in want. Or see, this is another part talking about how we just were, so giving, and it's so hard to just let somebody go without when you have plenty. And we were doing this, we were like giving. So yet say it, yes, star. They love that pork. I keep telling them, leave that pork. Man, if y'all don't leave that pork alone and that beef just as bad as the pork. The chicken is too, I ain't gonna even lie. But the beef and the pork are the worst. Okay? All right. Okay, so Let me start back up here. An open, generous temper is a standing virtue among them. To be narrow-hearted, especially to those in want, or to any of their own family. This is accounted a great crime not to share. Man, I always tell you guys, keep some, you got extra stuff, keep the stuff in your car. These homeless people you passing by, they ain't your brother, but still you can't just let a person be hungry now. The least you can do is give them a little food, a little drink if you can afford to. Come on, y'all. Make sure y'all do this on the daily. I don't just say it for no reason. This is something that needs to be done. We need to make sure people are being replenished some kind of way. Just giving a person a bottle of water has so much life in it. Just the fact that you thought to give them that water is going to give them a certain type of energy. I mean, come on, y'all. Y'all got to think. All right. Such wretched misers, they brand with bad characters, and with them the fate of Prometheus, to have an eagle or a vulture fastened to their liver, or an Tantalus starving in the midst of plenty without being able to use it. The Cherokee Indians have a pointed proverbial expression to the same effect. The Sinawa, the Nowara, the great hawk is at home. However, it is a very rare thing to find any of them of a narrow temper. And so basically it's hard to find them getting angry, losing their temper. First off, I would think that have to do with a spiritual inclination, the foods they were eating being pure, nothing filtrated with anything. And though they do not keep their promiscuous, and though they do not keep one promiscuous common stock, yet it is to the very same effect, for everyone has his own family or tribe, and when one of them is speaking, either of the individuals or the habitations of any of his tribe, he says, he is of my house, or it is my house. Thus, when King David prayed that the divine right might only fall on his house, he might mean the tribe of Judah, as well as his own particular family, exclusive of the arrogant body of Israel. And as we talked about, King David was a very powerful indigenous king. If you're not familiar, you guys can look that up. Maybe I'll do a build on it. If you guys aren't familiar with that, let me know in the chat. So King David definitely was a powerful Aboriginal king. Okay. When the Indians are traveling in their own country, they inquire for a house of their own tribe, and if there be any, they go to it and are kindly received. Though they never saw the person before, they eat, drink, and regulate themselves with as much freedom as at their own table. So they make themselves at home. As soon as they find a house which is of the same tribe, they can go right to their door, walk in, and be like, "What's up?" Make themselves at home. What you talking about? Y'all hear this, right? This is the love, and this is the sharing, and the being the brother's keeper. Okay, which is a solid ground covering with bare skin. I'm sorry, I went over something. If there be any, they go to it and are kindly received, though they never saw the person before. They eat, drink, and regale themselves with as much freedom as their own table, which is the solid ground covering with a bare skin. It is their usual custom to carry nothing along with them in their journeys but a looking glass and a red paint hung onto their back, their gun, and a shot pouch, or bow and quiver. So they had guns and bows in there, but they try to act like we was these wild Indians. They ain't have nothing. How these people's manufacturing guns and shit if they living in huts and they got tables on the ground with bear skin for tables, and I mean it make sense to me. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Another baby that woke up. I'll be with you guys in 1 second. All right, guys, appreciate that. All right. House of Nathan, peace, brother. Thanks for coming in. Peace, peace, peace. Okay. Can't even get order right now. That I don't like. Okay, let me see. Okay. Full of barbed arrows and frequently both gun and bow, for as much as they generally in a state of war against each other, a state of war against each other. As you guys remember, a while back we were reading the book how some of the tribes were trading. They would come with these people, just like how they befriended the guy that's writing this story here and telling the true history, because he see that a lot of the information on the indigenous Aboriginal people were lies, and he said, I lived with these people for 40 years and a lot of this stuff is fictitious. And this is how this guy recognized that a lot of their mannerisms and the things that they did in the tribe, they were of the same traditions as the Jews, which is very astounding. And it's not when you think about the 12 tribes, right? Okay. They are obliged, as soon as able, to carry those arms of defense. Every town has a state house or a synodrome, as the Jewish sandarim, sandarim, if I'm saying that right, I don't even know what that is, where almost every night the headman convened about public business. So basically, that was the state of the tribe's business. They were governing. We were reading this in the other book when they talked about the governors that was there, the senates being the head, the elders. This is the same thing they're talking about. So this had been going on way back then. It was going on from the 1400s on up. They were always taking care of their business. They were always handling things, and they do that now. They operate with tribe. There are tribes now that operate the same way. They handle all their own business. They do everything that they need to do, so on and so forth. All right. And oh, wait a minute. Hold on, guys. I should get this baby a drink first. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. Might get called away again, guys. Hold on a second. Got about 20 more minutes for their mom get here. So let me try and get through some of this and then we'll be able to finish up. As soon as they got quiet, I sat down and of course, you know how it is if y'all have kids, and same thing with me with the grandbabies. Okay, every town has a state house or a synodrome. Okay, the main convening the public business or the townspeople to feast, sing, dance, and rejoice. Any type of celebration in divine presence. So they would rejoice in the divine presence, spiritual, So you're thinking about church. It would not be a church or a religious ceremony, but they would gather together to observe divine presence and actually have a feast, singing, dancing, rejoicing. This is where they get the religious aspect and turning what they were doing into a church ceremony. Okay, if you guys can see that. As will fully be described hereafter, and if a stranger calls there, he is treated with the greatest civility and hearty kindness. This is where the kindness is being taken for weakness. So as they welcome these pilgrims in, as they welcomed these people coming into the town, they were being friendly with them. They wanted to make sure they were eating. They were helping them, all these different things. So taking on their customs in a way that that was taken advantage of, giving them like leeway to see their weaknesses and know how to overpower. It was part of their custom. It says it right here, as will fully be described hereafter. And if a stranger calls there, he is treated with the greatest civility and hearty kindness. So they were obligated to treat these strangers with kindness and civility. It was an obligation among the tribes. It was an obligation among the way that they did things, because it was a certain respect, showing honor, giving a person a certain type of welcoming. So this is how we were taken advantage of, trying to assist others. He is sure to find plenty of their simple home fare and a large cane bed covered with the softened skins of bears or buffaloes to sleep on. But when his lineage is known, okay, I'm not gonna take this one. I have to go back. When his lineage is known to the people, be a stated custom. Hold on, guys. Wait, I can catch a break right now. Okay. All right, guys. Home fare in a large cane bed. Okay, but when the lineage is known to the people by a stated custom, they are slow in greeting one another. So if they don't know the people, or the lineage of that particular people is not known by their customs, or is different from another because of obviously they had some different customs, so on and so forth. They were slow with greeting each other because they wanted to know, hey, how do you do it? They're trying to make sure they're not being disrespectful, so on and so forth, and honoring the person in the greeting. His relation, if he has any there, addresses him in a familiar way, invites him home, and treats him as his kinman. When a warrior dies a natural death, now listen to this, we're going to get into some of the burial stuff. When a warrior dies a natural death, which seldom happens, wow, they seldomly die a natural death. They're usually killed, is what it sounds like. The war drums, the musical instruments, and all other kinds of diversions are laid aside for a space of 3 days and nights. In this time of mourning for the dead, they give 3 days to mourn for the dead. This is why people are allotted a certain amount of time to mourn for the dead. This is a tradition that comes down the line. Allow them to get peace in their heart, allow them to come to their spirit and, be able to get any type of resolution they needed or what they didn't get from that person in their death, so on and so forth. So this is a tradition, mourning for the dead for 3 days. I have known some of the frolicsome young sparks to ask the name of the deceased person's tribe, and once being told it was a raccoon, the genealogical name of the family, one of them scoffingly replied, then let us away to another town and cheer ourselves with those who have no reason to weep. For why should we make our hearts weigh heavy for an ugly dead raccoon? Oh my God. But notwithstanding, they are commonly negligent of any other tribe but their own. They regard their own particular lineal descent in as strict a manner as did the Hebrew nation. So some of the other tribes, they come around, they looking like, okay, y'all tradition is to be mourning for a raccoon or whatever the case may be. That's not ours. We don't have that tradition. Like, I'm ready to go to the next town so we can get the party. And that's what they was about. They like, we ain't wasting time on crying over no raccoon. That's y'all tradition, So everybody has different traditions. You don't have to always have the same traditions. That's understandable. By a strict permanent, the divine precept, the Hebrew nation were ordered to worship at Jerusalem, Jehovah, the true and living God, and who by the Indians is styled Yohewan, not Jehovah, but Yahewan. Yohewan, which the 72 interpreters, either from ignorance or superstition, have translated Adonai, and is the very same as the Greek kurios, signifying sir, lord, or master, which is commonly applied to earthly potentates. I don't even know that word, guys. I'm sorry. I know I'm probably botching it up. Without the least signification of or relation to that most great and the way these words are like doing something to me. The commas looking like they're not commas. I'm sorry, y'all, if I'm reading it kind of off. I apologize. I try to, make sure it sounds, smooth for you guys, but this is like coming out weird. I don't know where the commas at. I'm skipping them. That most great and awesome name, which describes the divine essence, who naturally and necessarily exists of himself, without beginning or without an end. Let me take that. I want to copy that part and put it in the chat. I think that's pretty powerful right there, right? I don't know about y'all. I think that was pretty powerful. Let me go back. Okay. It's probably gonna be. Let me cut this out. So I'm making 2 messages because it's not gonna all fit in there. Still ain't fitting. Yeah, that's kind of deep right there. I'm feeling that. Okay, exist of himself. Okay, let me read that part again too. All right. Either from ignorance or superstition, they think it's translated from Adane and is the very same as the Greek curio, signifying sir, lord, or master, which is commonly applied to earthly potentates. I gotta look that up, y'all, because I don't know what that is. Potentates. What is a potentate? Potentate. All right. Definition. What is it? Let's see. A monarch or a ruler, especially an autocratic one. Okay. Makes sense. So the ruler. And so that was the ruler. And let's see, where we at? Where am I at? Okay, which is commonly applied to earthly potentates, which are the rulers, so on and so forth. We just read that. So without the least signification of or the relation to that most great and awesome name, which describes the divine essence who naturally and necessarily exists of himself. They say himself, I say itself, exists of itself without a beginning or an end. The ancient heathens, it is well known, worship of plurality. So a plurality of gods, that does not make sense. They use some weird words. So they're saying plural is one. So plurality is assuming to be two. I'm not sure what that means. Gods which they form to themselves according to their own likeness, as various as the countries they inhabited, and as numerous with some as the days of the year. We're going to go over that too, guys. I said I want to go over that with you guys as far as like some of these apps and books in the Bible, and actually giving descriptions of some of this stuff, letting a person know the days of the week and, you know, the curses and stuff. Man, we ain't even get into all that stuff. Okay, but these Indian Americans pay their religious devar to Lok-e-Shahik. I can't even say this. To Lok-e-Tahola Abba, the great, beneficent, supreme, Holy Spirit of fire. They don't sound like no sky daddy to me that they was praising. Who resides, as they think, above the cloud. I could be wrong. And on earth also with unpolluted people. Okay, that makes sense. So it's on earth, as above, so below. So they had that concept, as above, so below, on earth, above the clouds. They had this worship. He is with them, the sole author of warmth, light, and of all animal and vegetable life. Okay, all energy. So we're talking about energy. Okay, they owned it. They was talking about energy. All energy, all life is energy. They do not pay the least perceivable adoration to any images or to dead persons. Check this out. Oh, y'all giving reference to the dead. I'm gonna set that there for a second. Yeah, I gotta get me a drink. I'm sorry, my mouth getting dry. These sinuses bother me. I got a drink right here, but this ain't doing it. I need something warm also. So give me 1 second. Let me get y'all back on.
Power on.
In 2 seconds
Bluetooth
here.
pairing. Bluetooth connected.
Yeah, my sinuses is bothering me. I'm starting to get a headache from it. It's like stuffing my head up. I don't even know what's going on right now, but give me a second, guys. We're gonna play you guys something real quick and go from there. What am I gonna play y'all? I ain't played one of my faves, my other faves today. Y'all know I got quite a few. Let's get to the brother song right quick. Play my little Brody song. This on fire right here. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get it.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just looking for a feather girl, you know? Just gotta.
Patient be fooling.
What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Would you be my feather girl? What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Don't you be my feather girl? Yeah, you bad. Yeah, you fine. I'm just trying to make you mine. You ain't worried about these pennies, girl, cause you know you a dime. And I knew that I would have you. I just had to wait my time. Had to know you past looks, cause you know that love is blind. Met you at the powwow, asked you what's your tribe. You asked me, mommy, politic, and give me quarter vibe. So you rocking your feathers, you can say you caught my eye. From that moment, girl, I knew that I could probably make you bride. Girl, you the truth, shorty, what you wanna do? Come and be a winner, you know I could never lose. Wanna be a man now, tell me what I gotta prove. You the realest, so that's why a nigga really fuck with you. What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather
Gretchen,
girl?
welcome,
What's your
sis.
name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate
Yes,
girl, you
I
know
was
you
sitting
fine.
singing.
Do I
That's what I
ever
thought,
cross your
sis.
mind? Get it wet, make it
Period.
rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl? Damn girl, you do that thing damn well. I know you indigenous. What's your tribe? I can't tell. Are you Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee? No interracial girl. I only fuck with chicks that look like me. I like a long hair, melanated vibe with no guidance. Shorty, I'ma be your guide. Let me show you how to live. It's not enough to just survive. Maybe have a couple kids if I end up between your thighs. For real. Intellectual convos about a book or something. That smirk emoji like you giving me that look or something. You keep it real like you carrying a hook or something. So if you want it, you got it. Ain't gotta look for nothing. What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl? What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl?
Fire, fire, fire. Job Bricks, feather girl. Y'all already know. Go look for that if you ain't heard it. Y'all know y'all done heard that. We be playing that. That's one of my faves. All right, y'all, let's get back into this good old info. It's getting juicy. It says that they do not pay the least perceivable adoration to any images or to dead people. So what that tell you? They don't be going to no mass and going down kneeling at the altar to this picture of this person that's the Christ and all this stuff. They had this Jesus with the crown, and they sit and they do these prayers and pray to all these different statues, the statue of Mary, and all these different things that they're doing, right? So it said that our people don't pay the least perceivable adoration to any type of images or to any type of dead person. Adoration to any type of people and that type of thing that's going on. You feel me? Yes. This is crazy. And that's how they sit up here and use our information to always be different. Now, it says, neither to the celestial luminaries, nor evil spirits, nor any created being whatsoever. They are utter strangers to all the gestures practiced by the pagans in the religious rite. Paganism. Any paganism, I've done a video on this before, guys. Paganism, Christianity, Catholic, all of that is all paganism. It's all paganism. It says what is it, baboon? Yeah. It says they are utter strangers to all the gestures practiced by these pagans and their religious rites. They had their own rites. We just read that earlier. It said they had certain rites, and these were the things, the tradition passed down from their fathers. So this is how I believe they got tricked, a lot of them, because some of these traditions were sounding like, these traditions from this Christianity that they took, they twisted our information, gave it to them, and they're like, dang, it sounds familiar. It's kind of resonating with me, It says they kiss no. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on, guys. What part? Okay. All right, guys, here we go. So it says they kiss no idols, nor if they were placed out of their reach would they kiss their hands in tokens of reverence and a willing obedience. Now you guys know you always see the Pope, they take the cross, they be kissing the cross, they be kissing the this, to that, da 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 da. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm on it. The ceremonies of the Indians in their religious worship are more. What are you doing in the kitchen, Pa? Hold on. Okay. Peace, peace, brother. Peace, Pony Locks. Wilmore Reed. Peace, brother. Peace, peace, and blessings. You already know. Tom Jones. Peace, brother. See you coming in. Yeah, we just y'all didn't miss much. I've been distracted so much, Lord. It's gonna get a little better in a minute. My daughter just said she on her way, so I can get a little more peaceful. Maybe I can think a little clearer. I'm trying to make sure what's going on here. One crying, this one whining, Lord. Okay. The ceremonies of the Indians in their religious worship are more after the Mosaic institution than a pagan imitation. Let me just put that in the chat too, just so people know. We do none of that paganism stuff. Anybody talking about, oh, I'm a Christian, this, oh, yeah, that's paganism. So our people ain't do that. They tell you right here. They said it. They never did that. They never did that. Never. They didn't get down with that. They had to make sure they were following the things that they knew before they got fully infiltrated. A lot of them were going by the same statutes and the spiritual information and what have you. Peace, peace, brother, peace. You already know, strong. Okay, so let's get it. Now, they didn't go with that. Okay, so this, which could not be if the majority of the old native were of the heathenish descent. For all bigots and enthusiasts will fight to death for the very shadow of their superstitious worship. When they have even lost all the substance, there yet remain so many marks as to enable us to trace the Hebrew extraction and the rites through all the various nations of the Indians, and we may with a great deal of probability conclude that if any heathens accompanied them to the American world or were settled in it before them, they became proselytes of justice, and their pagan rites and customs were swallowed up in the Jewish. Hold on, something I just read caught my attention. American word, and they were settled in it. Them to great deal, the probability conclude that if any heathens. Okay, first off, the heathens. So it's telling you who the heathens were. They obviously we weren't the heathens; they were the heathens. But how did it switch around to them start calling us heathens and savages and all that? That's all when the Christianity came in. Once they took the land and put them in the spirit of Christ and going to heaven. So now y'all don't got to worry about y'all land. Y'all just worried about the Christ and all of that. Yeah. Mm. Peace, Clarence. Peace, brother. Peace, peace. Yes, this is craziness, right? Okay. Now, accompanied with them to the American world or were settled in it before them, they became proselytes of justice, and their pagan rites and customs were swallowed up by the Jews. To illustrate the general subject, I shall give the Indian opinion of some of the heathen gods, contrasted with that of the pagan. The American Indians do not believe the sun to be any bigger than it appears in the naked eye. Interesting. Our Yeah, I know I be doing 20 things. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Y'all, I'm trying to maintain. It'll get a little more in order in about 20 minutes. It's gonna be a lot more peaceful, guys. I got it. I'm distracted. It's a lot going on. The phone keep messing it. I had a couple of customers calling me back, texting me. So yeah, let me get to it. To illustrate the general subject, I shall give the Indian opinion of some of the heathen gods, contrasted with that of the pagan. We got to illustrate these pagan heathen gods, y'all. The American Indians do not believe the sun to be any bigger than it appears to in the naked eye. Conversing with the Shakasa, the Archimagus, or the high priest about the luminary, he told me it might possibly be as broad and round as his winter house, but he thought it could not well exceed it. We cannot be surprised at the stupidity of Americans in this respect when we consider the gross ignorance which now prevails among the general part of the Jews, not only the whole system of nature, but the essential meaning of their own religious ceremonies received from the divine majesty. And also when we reflect that the very learned and most polite of the ancient Romans believed, remember we talking about these black Europeans, when they say these Romans, believe not by any new invented mythology of their own that the sun was drawn around the earth in a chariot. This is another thing. I don't think I've discussed it before, but that is known. It said that the earth, that the sun goes around, it comes down, and that I don't know if you guys sun gaze. I sun gaze all the time, and I watch the sun. I see the real sun. I see when they put the fake sun up. I see when they block it out with that white luminary. I see all that shit. I see when it go down. I see when the real sun, the golden sun, comes back out once it get closer down, and they can't block it because it's low in the ley line. They can't touch it. All of that. So when it does go down, when the sun rises and go down, it's the same thing. You go on my page, you guys can see it for yourself. I mean, you have to be blind not to understand it. It literally starts to rise from the freaking ground. I don't care what y'all say. And I'm not saying it's coming from inside the ground. I don't know what it's doing. All I know is it's coming from the ground. It comes up and it's rising and it rises and it goes up. It goes around. And at nighttime, it's on the other side. It goes down. It turns to that gold sun. It goes down and it completes and goes in another cycle up under the earth. So I don't know what y'all believe or not, but that's what I see. Okay, let's keep talking about it. Their philosophic system was not very dissimilar to that of the wild Americans. For Cicero tells us Epicurus thought the sun to be less than it appeared. Okay, I just read that. I'm sorry, y'all. I get distracted talking this shit. Hold on. I told y'all too much going on. I thought the sun be portable. Be a portable God. Okay. Right here, I didn't read. And Lucretius says that Tantalus, ill soul, you know, is sun, soul is sun, sin is the moon, and soul is the sun. A diminutive thing. And if the Israelites had not at one time thought the sun a portable God, the Israelites thought the sun a portable God, they would not have thought of a chariot for it. So thinking about the chariot, they talk about the cherubim, the horses, like the fire. When you hear about that cherubim, and we're thinking about all these different angels, they're talking about all the archetypical type of different entities on the different realms and the levels, and you know all of that. So they had a lot of information or their own insider thoughts on that. This they derived from the neighboring heathen. See? So it was a confusion. Remember I was saying how when they came with the Christianity and everything, I think it confused them because a lot of the information was similar and they were looking like, well, dang, this kind of sounds like the stuff we learned and so on and so forth. No, bro, no, Tom. Okay, Tom, check it out. It's not in this book is in the Library of Congress. We're not reading it from there. But last night, wait a minute, let me see if I can pull it back up. Let me drop it in the chat for y'all. Last night, one of the other brothers asked for, he's like, sis, I need that book. So I actually found it in the Library of Congress. So let me see if I still have it up in this other link, and I will drop it for you right now. So anybody that wants to go into this, they can definitely go into it as well. Because we got another book we were looking at. It's crazy. All this stuff is coming up like crazy. It's just, I have to do it in a minute, brother, because it's going to end up messing me up. But remind me before we get off, and I'll drop the book. This one is something I found on a link, and I just have it up because I kept clicking through stuff, and it ended up taking me to this. But we found the book last night. I put it in the chat. You can, oh yeah, Tom, you could go right to the bill from last night, part 1 of this, and it's actually in the chat. I pinned it. It's highlighted. You'll see it. It's in the chat. This book, I actually dropped 3 book links last night. Oh man, I tried some good books last night in the link. So y'all check out that live from last night. Go in there, grab those links so y'all can read this stuff yourself because it's like crazy. Okay, and yeah, brother, this book is in the Library of Congress, particularly this particular book, not this version of it. This is like from the it may be like an older PDF something of the sort, but the Library of Congress is the actual book. Okay, I could have read from there, but it was the same thing, so I just kept this up. All right, guys. Let's go. Okay, and it says they derived them from the neighboring heathen. Like I told y'all, it's kind of like this taking about the Christian thing, right? For we are told that they had an house of the sun where they danced in honor of him in circuits. Now, y'all remember those pictures I showed y'all before? Do I need to pull those up? I hope not. Y'all remember the pictures we showed of the old America, and it was showing the Indians. It showed the bone, the skull and bones. They had the tapestry behind them. They were praising them. It was the big, huge, giant god, it wasn't a god, but it was just the chief. Like all of that. It was showing all this stuff. Okay, let me see. Likewise built okay, let me go back so it doesn't sound weird. That they had a house of the sun where they danced in honor of him in circuits and had consecrated spherical figures, and that they likewise built a temple to it, for they purified and sanctified themselves in the gardens. In the garden, what is that? The Garden of Eve? Behind the house or temple of Akkad in Issa 17:8. In Issa. I'm assuming it's Isaiah. Yes, this got to be Isaiah. In Isaiah 17:8, we find they had sun images, which the Hebrews called kamanin. Kamanin, that almost sounds like humor. Made to represent the sun or for the honor and worship of it. The Egyptians met yearly to worship in the temple of Beth Shemesh, a house dedicated to the sun. Most part of the old heathens, you see everybody else practicing that paganism, they was heathens. Most part of the old heathens adored all the celestial orbs, especially the sun. Probably they first imagined its unlivening rays immediately issued from the holy fire, light, and spirit, who either resided in or was the identical sun. The idolatrous ceremony of the Jews. Hosea utterly abolished about 640 years before our Christian era. Before the Christian era. The sacred text says, if it's before the Christian era, as I said, y'all know it all derives from it. All this coming from these heathens and the pagans. The sacred text says, he took away the horses, which the kings of Judah had given to the sun, and burned the chariots and the sun with fire. He took away the horses. This is the cherubim they always talk about. This is the cherubim that they said that Christ, the Samiosis, oh gosh, what's the guy's name? The one that they chopped him up and he came back to life. They said he was the real true Christ. They said he defeated the entire French army, sent them running because he literally called on these angels to come in the cherubim to protect him and to fight off these heathens, the French. And literally their stories, there were books, there were stories in the Library of Congress even talked about it. These heathens ran off. Them Frenchmen ran and hauled tail when they seen these fired horses and shit coming out the sky. I don't know if y'all heard that story before, but I've talked about it. Hey, Pa, why are you getting loud? At Rhodes, here go Mama. Perfect timing. Hold on, y'all. We might have to take another break so I can get them dogs. Hold on a second. Right here, baby, on the baby bag. Mommy coming up. Get your shoes on, honey. Okay, guys, hold on 1 second. Give me like 1 second, y'all. Let me make sure this baby's straight. I want to make sure you read this stuff. Play one more for you real quick. You want what, babe? Okay, get your shoes on, baby. You gotta get your shoes on. Man, they having to fit these babies. Like, sit quiet, Lord. You asking for too much, Grandma. Okay, hold on. All right, y'all. Let's get this one more going. Go from there. By the time I come back, we at it. I'm gonna have peace, and quiet. It's peace with them too. They just Lord, they being babies. All right, guys, I'll be right back.
Royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So the fiction crime, girl, you royal. Wait, royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So the fiction crime, girl, you royal. Wait. I tried to catch my breath. I tried to stack my checks. Shorty got ass, got blessed. Damn. I tried to stack my checks. I tried to grab my grip. A lot of niggas mad I'm rich. I'm at to smash they bitch. Pull up in a max outfit. VLN on the logo, moving solo with the stick. Block jumping like a pogo, come and pull up on the strip. Told her pull up and get lit. So she pulled up and she stripped. Damn. I don't need all the attention. I just need all of the pension. Ran the bill up like a piston. Wait. Told them, but they didn't listen. Fuck it, I teach them a lesson. I ain't got time for the stressing. Damn dog, is you kidding me? You know that we Aborigines. I don't give a fuck if you feeling me. As long as you watch how you grilling me. My knee G's making history. Brother, some diamonds at Tiffany's. She a carpet queen and she feeling me. So you know she matching my energy. Royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So the fiction crime, girl, you royal. Wait, royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So the fiction crime, girl, you royal. Wait, so the fiction crime, girl, you royal. You ain't got time for the low vibes, but you know I'm feeling your vibe. You a black woman, you go God. You could trust me, girl, I promise. My only choice, to be honest. I feel like it's perfect timing. When we at your party, we getting it lit. Hit it YBs if I need me a fit. He got the sauce, yeah, he got the drip. We gon' keep grinding until we get rich. Smoking exotic, I need me a zip. My Aborigines be with the shit. Rushing your shit and I call it a blitz. We try to find us some money to split. Can't break bread, then you fake then. Free all my guys out the state pen. Her only wet, yeah, it's leaking. She said she want me to eat it. Had to ice her out, now she blinging. Dying for what I believe in. Dropping new heat every season. Call me a vet cause I'm seasoned. Call me a vet cause I'm healing the dogs. Roll me a wood, I ain't talking the law. Brought me some land, about to buy me a mall. Stand up nigga so I cannot fall. Chasing clout, then I won't get involved. Oh, that's your girl, then I'm testing the jaws. Said you was lame, so she gave me the draws. Feeling like Rick Ross because I'm a boss. Royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you.
All right.
Face and she loyal. So the fiction crime, girl, you royal. Wait, royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So the fiction crime, girl, you royal.
That just said symbolic.
Royal.
This is I could get the phone up. All right, y'all. Let's get to it. All right. We back, y'all. We back. Now y'all got my full undivided attention. Actually, let me turn this nursery rhyme off. Lord have mercy. I should have did that first. All right. Right, I seen that 33 Willie. I sure did. They got tired of waiting on me. Go on, y'all then. See y'all. Okay, so let's get to it. It said he took away. Wait. I got to go back, y'all, because sometimes I got to go. Since Gretchen just put that in, I got to read that part because she's so freaking right. But the chariot, sis, are you aware of the cherubim? When you think about the cherubim, the horse, the chariot, the fire, that's what it made me think about, sis. But I feel what you're saying too. And it may be the same, one and the dang same, babe, being honest. It said most part of the old heathens adored the celestial or da-da-da. Okay, I want to go to another part. Okay. That idolatrous ceremony of the Jews, Joshua uttered about 640 years before that era. He took away the horses which the kings of Judah had given to the sun. See, the horses, remember? So it's the cherubim is the horses, and remember it came from the sky, and like I said, it was so powerful. Simeon Santisos, I think it's the guy's name, the one that was the Christ. They say he came back and he was another one that did the death and the rebirth. And I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into some of this stuff. And then when it says something about burn the cherries and the sun with fire, so it was like they came out of the sun. That was kind of like the concept. So what you're saying, I definitely don't disagree with, but it's put me in the mind of that. It says at Rhodes, a neighboring island to Judea, they consecrated chariots to the sun. See, the chariots to the sun, on account of his glorious splendor and his benign qualities. The Macrobius tells us that the Assyrians worshipped Adad or Akkad, which is an idol of the sun. And Strabo acquaints us, excuse me, guys, the Arabians paid divine homage to the sun, but the Indian Americans paid only a civil regard to the sun. The Indian Americans paid only a civil regard to the sun, and the more intelligent sort of them believe that all the luminaries of the heaven are moved by strong, fixed laws of the great author of nature. In 2 Kings 17:30, we read that the men of Babylon with Sakat Banat, tents of young women, having consecrated the temple of Venus, they fixed tents around it, where the young women prostituted themselves in honor of the goddess. Herodotus and other authors are also sufficient witnesses on this point, nor were the Americans originally heathens or not of Israel when they wandered there from captivity in quest of liberty or on any other accidental account. That vicious president was so-called calculated for America, where every place was a thick arbor. It is very improbable they should have discontinued it, but they are the very reverse. To commit such acts of pollution while they are performing any of their religious ceremonies is deemed so provoking an enmity as to occasion even the supposed sinner to be excluded from all the religious communication. No, not communication, I'm sorry. From all the religious communion with the rest of the people, or even with the man known to have gone into his town's own wife. It has gone into his own wife. Wait a minute. What did I skip something? Because that did not read right. Or even was a man known to have gone into his own wife during the time of their fastings or purifications. Man. I'm gonna be honest. On some of these weird YouTube panels, I even remember a guy, somebody talking about sex or something with the person when a woman was on their menstrual or some other nature. This is telling me right here. That's like disgusting. Let's not even talk about the religious aspect of it. Let's not even talk about the moral aspect of it. Let's just talk about you being decent and having some respect for your damn self. That's like filthy. I've heard women even talk about it. Ooh, I just put a tampon in. Ooh, I just laid the towel down. I'm like, yo, I wouldn't even tell nobody that. Okay, but anyway, that shit is sick. Or even with the man known to have gone into his own wife. Going into his own wife, that means having sex, if you don't get it, during the time of her fasting. So when a woman is fasting, and ladies, I hope you guys are aware of this. If you're doing a fasting, any type of purification, you're not supposed to have anything to come inside you, especially a man. And spermicide, that's a whole different gene. That's information. That's putting something in when you're trying to do a cleansing and a purification. When you take in that semen, that's information and everything. It has memory. It has information in it, light code in it. Why would you be taking something in when you're purifying yourself? That's crazy. Even when you have your menstrual, that's purifying and cleansing out the womb, so on and so forth. So that's disgusting to be putting something inside you if you're trying to cleanse, right? That's crazy. And it says that he would have to be separate from him. So he couldn't even live with the woman. If she was on her period, he had to actually leave out of the home. And yeah. So let's see. There is a wild difference between the impure and the obscure religious ceremonies of the ancient heathen and the yet penile and strict purity of the natives of America. The heathens chose such gods as were more suitable for their inclination and the situation of their country. The warlike Greeks and the Romans worshipped Mars and the god of war. The warlike Greeks and Romans worshipped Mars and the god of war, and the savage of the more bloody Scythians defied the sword. What some of these words, I don't know what's going on. The neighboring heathens around the Judea each built a temple to the supposed god that presided over their land. Rimmon was the Syrian god of pomegranates, and the Philistines likewise erected a temple of Dagon, who had just taught them the use of the wheat, which the Greeks and the Romans changed into seers, and the goddess of the corn from the Hebrew gears, which signifies a grain. But the Red Americans firmly believed that their war captains and their reputed prophets gain success over their enemies and bring on seasonable rains by the immediate reflection of the divine fire cooperating with them. Makes sense. We are actually let's go back down, guys. I told y'all I can't read through this whole book. We're gonna definitely have to just browse through. That's why I gave you guys a link so you can get all the information. I really just want you to see this type of stuff that's in here, but it's just been captivating me how it's actually disseminating, the Bible and letting you guys know where a lot of the information came from, the twisting of it, the contortion of it, taking of your information, taking on your historical rights, taking on everything from you guys that was, yeah. So let's see. Female. Oh, okay. And yet a goat was a stinking sheep, a goat. We know what the goat represents now, right? They always say it's evil. They say it's the what's that? The Baphomet, right? That's representation of the goat. So when you see the goat, you know that has something to do with the boule. That's boule. That's having to do with the Baphomet. Half woman, half man, as above, so below. That's the pentagonal structure, all of that stuff. So, and yet a goat was one of the Egyptian deities. It was an Egyptian deity, so they praise it. So what does that mean? It's paganist. All of the Egyptian stuff, all their gods, these were pagan gods. As likewise were all the creatures that bore wool, or with the count, the sacred writers frequently term idols. They are called the hairy. The despicable idea which the Indians affixed to the species shows that they neither use it as a divine symbol nor a desire of being named Dorcas. Now, why is it that they say they use Jesus as the lamb? The lamb. Why do they tell us that that's purification? Why do they tell you that all of this, when it comes to Christianity, is sacred, is purity, the white lamb, the Lamb of God, right? What do it take? Listen, I want y'all to make sure y'all got what this just said, right? A stinking, let's start over, back way up here. It says, a stinking sheep and a goat, and yet a goat was one of the Egyptian deities. It was a pagan deity. A goat was a pagan deity, as likewise were all the creatures that bore wool, any woolen creature, a sheep, a lamb, a goat. On which account the sacred writers frequently term them idols. Idols mean you're worshiping something that is outside of God, yourself. This is the hairy. We read stories, you guys. Remember some months back, we read the story where it was talking about they ran the hairy man into the forest. The Aboriginals ran him out of town. It was a big hairy beast. It was a Baphomet beast, freaking dog. What does they call it thing? That dog creature. Listen, I'm telling y'all, this stuff get real deep. It's spiritual. The despicable idea which the Indians affixed to the species shows they neither use it as a divine symbol, nor they do not use it as a divine symbol. So if our people say that it was the opposite of being used as a divine symbol, the very opposite, then why is it that Christianity comes and it showed them and it brought them into this whole world and saying that the Lamb of God is purification? It was the purification. Do you guys see that? Let me check on my chat real quick. Y'all see that? Oh, the communion part, sis. I'm sorry, sis. I just saw that. I'm reading so off. Trust me, it ain't you, baby. It's me. I'm trying to read, so I probably was caught off from what you were talking about, but man, my mind is a little distorted, baby. My sinuses started bothering me. I literally almost, as soon as I said it, this computer. That's crazy. Yes, exactly. Hiding the right. That's right. Jesus is swine. Exactly. Say it. The pig. The wine. Okay. So, being named the Dorcas, which with the Hebrews is the proper name, expressive of a wild she-goat, I shall subjoin here with regard to Ashtaroth or Ashtar, we know what that is, that though the ancients believed their deities to be immortal, yet they made to themselves both male and female gods. And by that means, Astarte and others are the feminine. Look how they spell feminine. Feminine. Makes me think about the blue flame, the blue energy, blue flame energy. The feminine gender. What is a feminine gender? Let's look that up because that definitely is standing out to me. The feminine gender. What is a feminine gender? Let's see. Etymology. It's talking about names. All of that. I want to know what it's saying. Feminine. It took it back to feminine. It would not even, it would not do it. Let me see. No, search for feminine. It looks like there aren't any matches for that, I bet. New World or English words or a general dictionary. I bet you it's in the that old dictionary, that old what is it? 1821 dictionary that the guys are always reading the facts from. Okay, the New World English of the General Dictionary, Abacon, Aaron, Mama. Okay, yeah, it's not giving me anything on it, guys. I really want to know what that is because it says feminine gender. If it's talking about feminine, because it did revert right to that, or does it mean something else? The Trismegistus too. Okay, here we go. What is this? I gotta know. What is the Trismegistus? What's the Trismegistus? Anybody know? Put in the chat. You know what they're referencing to? Trismegistus. What is a Trismegistus? It's Hermes. Hermes Trismegistus, the Greek name for the Egyptian god Thoth. So Thoth and all the information from Thoth, even though. Okay. The inventor of writing. Okay, let me put that in here. Okay, so it says, let me get back to that. So it says, and the Trismegistus, which is Thoth, too, and the Platonic. So they didn't say Thoth, but they called it something else. So this is all still going back to the same thing with a different name, though. And the Platonics affirmed there was Dios masculo feminis. And so Thoth was also masculine and feminine in reference to the Baphomet as well. The he, she, the finite, they say finite. Though different sexes were needed for the procreation of human beings. This is after creation, after true life, after energy of life. Instead of consulting such as the heathen oracles or the teraphim, the deponats, the diaponats or dilares of the ancients concerning future contingencies, the Indian also pretend to divine from their dreams which may proceed from tradition, they still retain of the knowledge their ancestors obtained from heaven in visions of the night. This is in Job 33. Now, I've talked to you guys about that. That is what they're talking about is the REM sleep. You know, when you go into your REM sleep, you actually are releasing endorphins of DMT. DMT is actually released into your brain as soon as you go or drift off into REM sleep. The DMT, you get about 20,000 milligrams approximately of DMT when you go into REM sleep. This is where you're allowed to actually teleport or ascend. Some people say they go to different places, different realms in their sleep, so on and so forth. So the ascension process is happening from the DMT and releasing those endorphins into the brain and allowing the ascension, which is the lightning or opening that portal in the mind. And when you die, the same thing happens, but it's about 680 million particles of it that actually releases, and that is the spirit of man, the breath, the life, the light energy of the person. God spaketh once, ye twice, yet man perceiveth it not, in a dream, in a vision of the night. When deep sleep falleth upon a man, deep sleep is the REM sleep that I just discussed, and sealeth their instruction. This is when you're supposed to get instructions from the ancestors. You're supposed to be going into yourself, reaching into your divine infinite knowledge that is within yourself. All the light coding cells, all the binary coding. When you're in this space, you're actually able to unlock coding, unlock frequency coding, so that you're able to obtain certain information, certain knowledge from your ancestors. They can actually talk to you in these particular dream realms. And our people were very high on the dreams. Okay. When we consider how well stocked with gods all the neighboring nations of Judah were, especially the maritime powers such as the Tyre and the Sidon, the Carthage and the Egypt, which continually brought some foreign gods and entered them into their own palladia, and that these Americans are utterly ignorant both of the gods and their worship, it proves with sufficient evidence that the gentlemen who traced them from either of those states only perplex themselves in wild theory without entering into the merits of the question, dealing with a lot of theory. As the bull was the first terrestrial cherubic emblem denoting fire, the ancient Egypts in length of time worshipped Apis, Serapis, or Osiris under the form of an ox. But when he grew old, they drowned him and lamentated his death in the mourning habit, which occasioned a philosopher thus to jest them. Si sunt cur plangitus, si mortio cur adoratus. If they be gods, why do you weep for them? And if they are dead, why do you worship them? Makes sense to me. If they be gods, if they be gods, why do you weep for them? And if they be dead, why do you worship them? A bull, an ox, a cow, or a calf are the favorite deities of these ancient idolaters. Even when Yahiwah, remember this is their name, as they were saying Jehovah, Yeshua, so on and so forth. Even when Yahiwah was conducting Israel in the wilderness, Aaron was forced to allow them a golden calf according to the usage of the Egyptians and at the defection of the 10 tribes. Now we got to go down, guys. Now, like I said, the superstition season, I want to try to find a little more information. This is talking about, I think they're talking about numbers in here. I hope I'm not confusing this with a different book I'm going to go over. Hold on, guys. Let me see. Okay, when the godness of deity induced him to promise a savior to fallen man in paradise, he stationed flaming cherubim in the garden. This is what we hear in the Bible too. There's this the flaming cherubim was covering the Garden of Eden, so they couldn't go back in there because Eve sinned. Blah blah blah. The type I shall leave. But when mankind became entirely corrupt, God renewed His promise to the Israelites and to posterity the true divine worship, ordering them to fix in the tabernacle and in Solomon's temple cherubim over the mercy seat, the very curtains which lined the walls of the veil of the temple. Likewise, were to have those figures. The cherubim are said to represent the names of the offices of Yahiwah, Elohim, in redeeming in redeeming lost mankind, which is the word. The lost mankind is the word. It is drawn from what? A note of resemblance and a great or mighty one. The similitude of the great and mighty one, whose emblems were the bull, the lion, the man, and the eagle. The prophet Ezekiel has given us two dots of the cherubim. Same thing, the same story. This is the Ezekiel story, the same story with the Simeon guy. Certainly not without an instructive design in his two visions described in the first and in the 10 chapters. Okay, let's go down. Man. Okay, I gotta read this part. The man with the lion on the standard of Judah, the man which the lion on the standard of Judah, and the head on Reuben's type was the fullness of time, united to the divine essence. Time into divine essence. Time has nothing to do with divine essence, but using that particular thing, the Judah, Judah and that lion's head, they were signifying that and tying that and uniting it into the divine essence, which it had nothing to do with. It's all paganism. These are the emblems of the terrestrial cherubim, and the psalmist called them the Marabha Hashkina, the chariot of divine majesty. This is what I've been just talking about, guys. God sitteth between and rideth upon the cherubim, which is the heat, the divine nature, which is the blue flame, or the divine chariot. The celestial cherubim were fire, light, and air, or spirit, which were typified by the bull, the lion, and the eagle. Those divine emblems in a long revolution of time induced the ancients by degrees to divide them and make images of the divine persons, powers, and their actions. Listen to this. Those divine emblems in a long revolution of time induced the ancients by degrees to divide them. It was to divide them and make images of the divine persons, powers, and actions, which is you, the divine person, power, and actions you have, which they typified, and to esteem them God. They took you and turned it into a God. They typified it. They esteemed it God. These deities, these different deities for you to worship. These idols, taking a person outside of themselves, going outside into the physical, because now you're outside of yourself. You're not in the spirit. You're not in the spirit because you're outside of yourself. There's something above you, something else that brings you. Okay. All right. What time is it? Let me see. I'm not feeling that graceful, guys. We might end up in it. Yeah, we'll do a few more minutes. We'll get back to this another time because I dropped you guys a link. You guys can read some of this yourself. Whew. But yeah, this is getting real deep right now, and I could go on. And before I get trapped and knowing I ain't feeling that well right now, I'm gonna have to get from this computer because I didn't feel like this till I sat here. Let's read a little more. They consecrated the bull's head to the fire, the lion to light, and the eagle to air, which they worshiped as gods. I think I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys. Okay. All right. Which they worshiped as gods. And in proportion as they lost the knowledge of the emblems, they multiplied and compounded their heads with those of different creatures. The Egyptians commonly put the head of a lion, a hawk, or an eagle, or sometimes that of a ram or a bull to their images, some of which resemble the human body. You guys have seen all these things over and over again. Their Apis or Osiris gave rise to Aaron's and the apostles Israel. The golden calf and their sphinx had 3 heads. Diana of Ephesus was triformis, and the Janus of Rome biformis, and sometimes quadriformis, and Jupiter, Sol, Mercury, Proserpine, and Cerberus were triple-headed. Hesiod tells us that the ancient heathen had no less than 30,000 gods, 30,000 different gods. How, when it's just one ultimate one? That makes no sense. It is well known that the ancient heathens, especially the Greeks and the Romans, abounded with male and female deities and commonly in human effigy. All right, guys, let me put this in the chat. 1 second. As they imagined they could not safely trust themselves to care of any one God, they therefore chose multiplicity. Multiplicity. So they wanted multiple gods. They like, we don't want just one God. We want many of them because we want all the stuff from everywhere, all this physical outside themselves, not knowing so much power is within. As long as the man knows himself standing in himself, man, it's crazy. They multiplied and changed them from childhood to old age. The Romans proceeded so far as to make Cloacina the guardian goddess of each house of office. The heathens in general appointed one god to preside over the land, and another over the water. And another over the water, one for the mountains and another for the valleys. And they were so diffident of the power of their gods, and they chose a god or goddess for each part of the body, contrary to the religious system of their best poets and the philosophers, and that of the present savage American. The former affirmed sapiens, dominiter, the asterix, and a wife, good man, will always be ruled by a divine reason and not pretend to be drawn to this or try, or that by any overbearing power of the stars or fortunes, and the latter assert that the temporal good or evil is the necessary effect of their own conduct, and the deity presides over life and death. Man, that sounds like a good part to stop on. Okay, guys. Now you have time to go and look at this book. I'll come back to it. I'm not sure when, guys. I have a couple lives. I might even have to reschedule them. There's so much going on with us trying to get ourselves together with the group and stuff. So we've been doing a lot of stuff, and I'm not exactly sure when I'll get back to this, but this is a very awesome book, and I definitely want to dig more into it, and I want to break down some things in it as well. I didn't do as much today because I couldn't talk as much on those things. I want to get through more of it, but yeah, definitely. All right, guys. So yeah, peace, love, blessings. I was gonna try to go for 2 hours, guys, but I think I'm gonna get out of here. Need to get me a little relaxation. I need to get a meeting set up for later. Make sure I have your email. If so, I'm gonna be sending some out for tomorrow for us to meet. We got some good stuff going on, guys, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Peace, love, blessings. I am out. It's getting hot out, guys. Make sure you guys keeping some water around that you could take out, maybe pass out to some homeless. Make sure they at least can stay a little hydrated, some healthy snacks, a little bit of basket of fruit, something like that. Peace, love, blessings, and I am out.